So how are you feeling about leaving Akin Lansdowne?
We'll be okay. That's how I feel. I feel like it was definitely caught us off guard. We weren't expecting it because we just sort of were grappling with having to move everyone from Dufferin, and to then come in and get a letter basically saying like, oh, by the way, here's another 50 artists, including us, that don't have a home. So it was just sort of, I had a moment of like, oh my gosh, this on top of moving into Mocha, and it felt timing wasn't great, but then again maybe timing was perfect because we'd already figured out moving people to King and Spadina, so it was really just actually maybe good timing because it was like, can we just have more space there and we could get more, and it kind of worked out. So yeah, it was inevitable that it would happen at some point. I think they just could have been a bit nicer about it. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is now more artists are going to be in the same space because you have Dufferin and Lansdowne
Totally.
and Spadina, so that'll be interesting to see that community.
It will be two
grow.
pretty, like, not distinct, but each location has its own vibe and is a bit different, and so to smush two together, I mean, I've joked about how I can't wait for like Alan to meet Cliff, who's sort of this funny character at the Dufferin studio.
I know Cliff.
Oh, well.
We've had conversations over the years.
Well, I can't wait for you guys to have more conversations and to hopefully be part of them. And like, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Because I think it'll be, it'll just put two already very strong, loving communities together, and I think it'll just create even more. I don't have any concerns of like, oh, will it be like Dufferin against Lansdowne? I think it'll be like,
no, not at all.
Wow, we've got this big swimming bubble of community now.
Yeah, and I think...
And so it's great.
I think that's the one thing about going to Mocha that I'm kind of like...
Yeah, you can come hang out with us anytime.
Which I will. I'll be there. I'll be there until someone's like, okay, that's enough.
I can understand that, but you won't be worried about that when you've got some very important curator giving you a great studio visit and...
Right. Yeah,
and roaming the museum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that too. Yeah.
Sure.
I can understand some people have said that, and that's an amazing testament to kind of community that exists, I think, is that people are like, I've got this great opportunity, but I actually don't even want to leave what I've got,
It's really hard to find a community that works and
it's like you can have
gets you.
Yeah, and there's friends. Often we have lunch together now, and then like you see people more than you see other people, and yeah.
Yeah, and we share food and thoughts and ideas.
Everything.
And support. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very much like, I always, when people are I'm trying to explain Akin, I kind of talk about it like this, like beehive of different creative people. I think that's what it is.
Totally.
Yeah, and if you want to engage with it, you can, but if you'd rather just kind of go have a quiet day, you can do that too.
What is your process in deciding how you're going to make your decisions? Does that make sense? Like, do you have to take a minute? Do you need to... Is there a certain way that you make your decisions?
In general, or just for like Akin stuff?
In general. That was just an example.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I came in and then Oliver and I worked away, and you could tell he had something that he wanted to say, and then he was like, so, and kind of showed me that we got this eviction after we'd already been, basically, Oliver and I spend 8 to 10 hours a day together, probably 5 days a week. And so then we've just been so busy dealing with Dufferin to show that, and it was kind of I guess my first thought when you asked that was like, take a second to grieve. We had a moment of just like, this really sucks. Are we grieving the loss already of Dufferin, the first studio, which meant a lot to me because that was the first time I got involved with Akin, was coming in, saying, hi, I just moved here from New York, I need space, meeting Oliver who's mopping the floor, and like, I have a lot of emotional attachment to that space, but I also have a lot of emotional attachment to this space now too. And so does he. And this room that we're in too, which we've had so many meetings in and I'm working at constantly. And so I think we took a second to grieve, but we're also then proactive. And it was like, okay, what do we do? What could we do? What are our options? We could move more people to King and Spadina. Okay, let's email them and find out if we can get more space. What other properties are we looking at? What other areas are there? Like, we've always got a pretty big vision at least. So it was kind of just a matter of like, okay, what are the possible scenarios that this could play out? Let's explore all of them as quickly as we can so that we can figure things out. And because we also wanted to let you and everyone else know as soon as we could, but we also didn't want to be like, this is happening, our world's on fire, you know? You want to kind of be like, our world's on fire, but we've got 5 different extinguishers. We think these are probably our best ones, and kind of go from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like you took a moment to grieve, and then you started problem solving.
Yeah, pretty much right away.
Yeah, like logically.
Because, yeah, I think, yeah.
So, I'm very curious about your art practice and process in terms of material. And I know that you, maybe I created this in my mind or I read it somewhere, but it's like you create conversations between different materials.
Totally.
So, how do you decide on the material, like specifically the aluminum, and how do you shape it that way?
It's just like a lot of wrestling with it. Like it's very, I hate intuitive is such a cop-out. Like, but with the metal, it is like going into the metal shop, finding the right piece of metal, whatever is going on that day, and literally kind of doing this dance with it and grappling with it. I feel like I've now moved past just bending metal because I got fed up of that being my thing. So now it's creating these sort of installations of bent metal but other found objects, working with stone. I think it's always playful. Like how I make the things is a playful process, but then I hope it looks like, you know, I hope it looks fun too. I want it to be bright and colorful and quirky and weird, and it's only getting weirder. Often though, there's this twinge of like, ooh, that's got a little bit of something to it, you know, like, it's out of the shot right now, but you know, there's the phrase, however you imagine me, just as long as you do. You know, like trying to, with the tech stuff, it's always how it works on a very interpersonal level, like however you imagine me, you know, just as long as you are still thinking of me, can work in like a very, you know, could be about an ex-girlfriend, like, you know, as long as you're just still thinking of me once in a while, that's great. But it can also apply to like a grandparent that passed away, and you know, I'm picturing this is morbid, but like picturing a dead grandparent being like, you know, I don't care if you're thinking about the bad times or the good times, as long as you just keep my memory alive. And a lot of the phrases kind of have that, you know, you can take it on a very micro level or a big macro level. Yeah, I feel like right now I'm just in a big research phase. I'm just like gathering data on myself and trying to figure out my own place within the universe, and gathering data on my DNA, or like scanning my brain and just trying to wrap my head around that, and that will create fodder for the next big project. I'm trying to get better at letting myself just go through that process of investigation a bit, which I'm doing because I'm 30 too. I just turned 30 and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? Where do I fit into that, you know? Which I think everyone is doing all the time, is kind of grappling with those big things, but yeah, now more than ever I am. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was when I turned 31, which was just now. It's just like, what was the last awesome art show that you went to? Where, who was the artist, when, that you remember, that really made you feel like, oh, I wish I made that?
There's a show up right now, and I feel bad because I'm blanking on the name of the artist. It's up at the power plant, and it was, I think I mentioned it to you, actually, you walked past.
Yeah.
Just super intense, like collages of all of these faces disfigured by war, and then these beautiful carved wooden sculptures of also these sort of disfigured faces. And it was a good reminder of just like, wow, yeah, you don't see those sort of images, or at least, you know, like, and you're not confronted with that. So it was one that really kind of took me back. Whoa. I had to speed through it because I was there for something else, but I want to go back and kind of spend a longer time with it. But I'd say that was the last one that kind of really packed a punch. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I look at a lot of art online. I look at a lot of art on Instagram now. Like I think a lot of us do, right? And so, yeah, I can think of like cool images I saw on Instagram because I don't need to go to New York to see the fairs anymore because there's thousands of people posting the pictures. I mean, that's a whole other sort of discussion, but.
What's the hashtag that you use the most to find?
I don't use hashtags to like find. I just accounts I follow.
So what's your favorite off the top of your head if you remember?
I don't have a favorite. It's just like a lot of artists, and so
Oh,
often artists will share what they're working on, or they'll say, "Hey, check out this other person." And like certain galleries, yeah.
Is there an artist on Instagram that you're like art crushing on?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Can you hear that? I
Alright,
feel like,
that's the
I feel like every day there's something. No, there isn't one. Sculpture just fell down from the ceiling. See the universe, chance. Anything could happen at any time. This could have fallen and hit my eye, and then I would never been able to see again. It'd be very difficult to make art if you're blind, but that's an interesting kind of concept.
But hasn't that almost happened when you were working with metal?
Never poked my eye out, but I've definitely,
But
it's
like
dangerous
almost?
with a lot of this sharp metal. You do kind of, yeah, I've gotten cuts and stuff. It's sharp. Like this is, you could easily hurt yourself with that.
What was your favorite art piece that you made in this studio?
I mean, the nice thing with this studio is that I've had the metal shop down the street. You know, like a lot of what I actually make
Is that how you made that?
No, that was made, it was a long kind of process actually. It was like water jet cut steel panels. So that was working with a sign shop. It wasn't here, but all of the bent metal stuff is almost always made at the metal shop down the street, Spar Marathon Roofing.
Cool.
Which is always a really interesting experience because they do roofing and I come in as an artist and use their tools and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. So they let you use their tools and...
Yeah. It's taken
Wow.
a bit of like getting to know each other.
That's
and
really
trusting
nice.
me. Super nice. Yeah, there's a guy there named Frank who's kind of trusted me to... It's gonna fall now.
What are they working on?
I don't know.
It's
I went up there, I
themselves.
opened the door, there was like a bed, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna interrupt whatever situation is going on here. It does feel like the sky is falling in on us. What was it? Isn't that a myth or a proverb or some... It's gotta be some children's folktale about the sky falling in on everyone.
I'm sure there is.
Chicken Little.
Chicken Little? What's the story of Chicken Little?
I forget exactly, but he goes around saying the sky is falling.
So you met Oliver at Lansdowne.
At Dufferin.
Dufferin.
Yeah.
And so what was you went to Dufferin not knowing him, you wanted to join the studio.
Exactly. Moved to Toronto, needed a studio space. Yeah, a friend had mentioned, oh, you should check out this place again. At the time it was just the one studio, like 15 people in there.
How many years ago was this?
7 or maybe 8, closer to 8 years. And Oliver at the time, Akin was still very fresh. Mike Delios, who he started it with, was busy transitioning kind of more into his world of furniture making and woodworking. And Oliver was looking for, I think, some extra help to just kind of get things going, and it just worked out super well.
So were you there for a studio space, or were you there to work with him?
Both. We kind of figured it out that I could have free studio space in there as sort of being the intern and helping him keep things rolling.
Right.
Yeah. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Like I had worked a lot in museums and art centers and stuff.
Let's just wait this out. Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked at art museums and art centers.
Stuff like that. And I just moved here, so I think I also saw like we could be doing a lot more. Which I think he agreed, but he was like, I don't have time to, do anything, let alone do more.
Right, because he has to do everything, like the mopping and the setting up and new members and accounts. And
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Up until 2 years ago, it was just Oliver and I doing everything.
Okay, so was it like bromance from the get-go? Because I know that there's like, aww.
I don't know if he's going to get interviewed, let's see what he said, but yeah, for sure, fast friends.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So at what point did you guys decide to move here?
That was like 5 years ago. Basically, from that one space, then it was just like, as more people needed space, we could afford to like, okay, let's get another one, and let's just kind of keep, it's just been one big snowball and kept it rolling.
So you never felt that maybe it was too much?
Just
That
sneeze.
Okay.
Oh,
Now that you said it's not going to happen.
I know, right?
I'm just going to tell. Ah!
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Oh, and now water is falling on me. That was a weird sensation because I sneezed.
Then it came from
I
above.
sneezed and then it's like,
Where did I?
look, dropping. Oh gosh, maybe this is a sign from the building to stop our interview.
Maybe we should.
Because it is full on like
Okay, we need
raining in here now.
All right, well that's that.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
It's dripping onto the light fixture,
It's dripping onto everything.
and then it's gonna come
Dripping
out
onto
like,
my computer.
Like this.
That was such a weird sensation. I just sneezed and then like it rained. I was like,
imagine. You're
what?
Like, ah, God.
yeah, this is disgusting. How am I ever gonna get healthy when I'm bathing in my own sneeze?
So should we talk about?
Ooh, look at that water pouring down.
Well, should we guard
The realities of
Oliver's
us slowly leaving this
work
building are people doing work above us very inconsiderately.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's.
should we cover that?
No, it's okay.